be so hard.
Gabby, why do you keep carrying all that baggage?
I guess it's just something I've always been used to.
My sweet daughter, if you will let me help, I will give you rest.
Why can't I be pretty like them? Why can't I look like them and fit in? God, why did you not make me like them?
Gracie, you are my daughter.
But I'm not as pretty as the other girls.
What have I told you?
That I'm beautiful, but I don't feel that way.
Gracie, you are so much more than just beautiful. You are my special masterpiece. I knit you together in your mother's womb. Your every detail is perfect, down to the double freckles that I placed on your leg. Gracie, do you trust me?
Yes, God, I do.
Put down the world and follow me.
Why am I the one who has to get hurt? Why do I have to suffer? Why, God? Why?
Joseph, put the gun down.
Why? It's not like no one's going to miss me.
Joseph, did I ever tell you it would be easy?
No.
Joseph, do not fear or be in dread of them. I will go with you, and I will never leave you, and I will never forsake you.
I surrender. I'll let you protect me from now on.
You intended to harm me, but God intended for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. But God will redeem my life from the grave. He will surely take me to himself. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Jesus looked at them and said, with which man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. No one has ever seen God, but God, the one and only, who is at the Father's side, has made him known. But God raised him from the dead, freeing him from the agony of death, because it was impossible for death to keep its hold on him. demonstrates his own love for us in this while we were still sinners, Christ died for us.
Down on my knees again, surrendering all, surrendering all, and find me here, Lord, as you draw me near. I'm desperate for you. I'm desperate for you. I surrender. Drench my soul, His mercy and grace unfold. I hunger and thirst. I hunger and thirst. With arms stretched wide, I know you hear my cry. Speak to me now. Speak to me now. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna know you more. I wanna know you more. I surrender. I surrender. I wanna know you more. I wanna know like a rushing wind. Jesus, breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, stir within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a rushing wind, Jesus, breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, stir within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me.
Come on. There we go. Y'all give those guys another round of applause. If you haven't figured out by now, the theme of today's message is "But God." And tell you what, this week has been it's been a challenge. This week we have changed our skits 3 times. And I had no idea what my message was going to be until about 30 minutes before the first service. So I went to bed last night having no idea what God wanted me to say. But God, as He always does, He delivered. Friday night, I met with a couple of men at our local Dunkin' Donuts, and we were meeting about our young men's conference on October 11th. So if you have a sixth grader, a teenage boy, 6th grade through 12th grade, get them signed up because it is going to be a powerful night. But we went to go over our agenda and talk about the night. We met at 8 o'clock. I was expecting to be home by 9-ish. Walked in my front door at 11:30. 3 men sitting outside of Dunkin' Donuts. And God showed up in a big way. We had prayer. We prayed over one another. It was, put it to you this way. When I got home and Alexis asked me what happened, so I can't even explain it to you. There's no words. But one thing I got out of that night is we have complicated the gospel of Jesus Christ. See, when I left there, I took this little bag with me. Just a plain little white bag. Y'all look at it, it's just a white bag. When I turn it around, put all the pretty bright colors and all the fancy writing. Now you're thinking about donuts. You see, we have tried to make God taste good. We've put our man-made rules to fit in this box for this people, this little box for this people, and this little box for these people. We have overcomplicated it by watering it down so that we can handle it. So it will taste good. So it'll fit in the box that we want to put it in. Sometimes the best things for us don't taste good. The gospel isn't always supposed to taste good. You see, we as a nation are starving for the rawness of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we don't even know it. Because it has been so watered down and so colored up that we have lost the true meaning of what it really is. We are begging to be punched square in the face with the gospel. We are crying out for it, and we don't even realize it. These two simple words, but God. But God. To truly understand these two words as they are used in Scripture is to truly understand the meaning of the gospel. Just two words. But God. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter your past. Doesn't matter what walk of life you've had. Two words. But God. See, we don't need a production, not a pretty package, not a sold-out arena of 3 days of worship. We need two words. But God. It's as simple as that. But God. I can't think of any two more powerful words in the world that we could even use to truly describe the gospel. When you truly think about it, these words are flowing over with the gospel. On this exact Sunday, 2 years ago, I was sitting in Pickens County Jail. But God said, I'm going to use that. And today, me and my sheep just delivered one of the most powerful messages I believe we could have ever delivered. As you see, we didn't want to wrap it up in a bunch of nice, pretty bows and make a huge, grand production. We wanted something simple and something powerful, and we wanted to punch you right in the face with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Ephesians 2, verses 4 through 5. I'll get there in a minute. Ephesians 2, verses 4 through 5 say, But God, who is rich in mercy because of his great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Christ, because by grace you have been saved. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It doesn't matter what you're holding on to. He just wants us to give it to him. Every bit of it. You see, we think we just got to give him the important stuff. God, I don't have to give you that hurt that I've held on to for 20 years. I've got it. God, I don't have to give you my finances. I don't have to give you my marriage. I don't have to give you my pain. Because I got to have a little something to hold on to. So I can be like everybody else. It's not hard, guys. We overcomplicate it. We overcomplicate it to a level that we don't even understand it sometimes. Romans 8:28 says, "But God demonstrates his own love toward us, in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." He doesn't care where you've been or what you've done. He just wants you to come to him with everything. Everything. As you think about these two words, but God, know that everything good and bad in your life, everything that's sweet, everything that's bitter, everything that happens to you in your life, from between the moment you give your life to God until the day you die, he will use it for your good and for his glory. You know how I know that? Because I am a sinner. And God changed my life. Everything that I've ever been through, from being homeless, to being raised by a single mother, to being bullied, as a teenager, to saving my life when I was struck in the right eye with a 3.5-inch mortar that should have blown through my head. And all he done was take my vision in my right eye. He will use every bit of that for my good and for his glory. Because Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose." We've all been called to do something. Not everybody's going to be called to stand up behind a podium. More days than not, I wish I wasn't. Some of us are called to serve in the children's ministry. Some of us are called to lead men's group. Some of us are called to lead women's group. Some of us are just called to pray. Some of us are called to lead worship. We're all called to do something. And we may not feel worthy or capable. But I will tell you right now, that is the words of Satan himself. Because he knows that if you ever let go of any of it and all of it, God will use you in a mighty way. You see, one of the things I struggle with Tom got to hear a lot of this Friday night. See, y'all don't understand the magnitude of what God has placed on me. I can't even comprehend it. And every day, my biggest struggle is trying to wrap my brain around that. But I ain't supposed to. It's not for me to figure out. It's for me to let it go and give it to God. But when He shows you something, and He shows you how great and how large the magnitude of what you are capable of and what He wants you to do, we in the flesh get scared. It's funny, we were talking the other night, Friday night. Me and Tom shared some amazing time with a very, very powerful young man of God. I'll tell you how a little story he told us about how smart Satan is. These aren't my words, these were his. But he's somebody, he tells me something, I'll take it to the bank. He said he can't find anywhere in the Bible where the three words of hedge of protection are found until the book of Job. There may be, I don't know, don't take my word for that. But that man said there wasn't, and I'll take his word for it. Guess who said those words? Satan. God said, "What about my son Job?" Satan said, "You have a hedge of protection around him. I can't get to him. Here he is." Go do what you need to do and watch what I do. You blessed him with more than you ever had. Psalm 16:11 says, "You will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." You will enjoy glorious pleasures in your future eternal life. Because of the gospel of two words, but God. In the first service, we take communion. There's communion on each corner of the stage. If you ever feel led that you want to go do communion, go do communion. At the beginning of the service, every one of you were given a pencil and a piece of paper. Whatever it is that you are holding on to, that you can't let go of, no matter how big or how small. Smoking, fear, doubt, doesn't matter what it is. If you are holding on to something and are not willing to give it to God, I want you to write it on that piece of paper. And at the bottom of this cross are 2 glass jars. I want you to come drop them. Fold it up, however you want to do it. Corey's going to play a song. Take your time. If you don't have a pen and a pencil and piece of paper, Alexis has them right over here.